I get this card work. It actually stay. Hey guys, so our topic today is a continuation from before, which is trying to put this head cannon from the KO Oversized lockdown from Extinction on the study series version, because as you can see, this study series version is definitely the best that we have right now at this scale. And even in comparison to the unique toy version, which is much bigger, this version still has the better molded details and better head sculpt in overall. It's a pretty good one, except for this giant backpack right here. But without a backpack keyboard right here, and the arm keyboard or the legs keyboard, this figure is actually pretty good looking. And it even have two weapons. One is the hook that he used in the movie, and the other one is a dagger. So he only missing his iconic gun head right here. That is the sole reasons why I purchased this figure for, mainly because we get an extra figure that can scale well with the YOLO part Optimus Prime Night Prime. And the second is that we get this head gun right here, which might be compatible to this Studio Series version, although it seems a little big. So now let's try to make this work. My original plan is that if I cannot make this gun fit onto the Study Series version, then I have to make modification. And the easiest modification to do is to take off this head sculpt. And you can see that we have the bone jaw right here. Then we have this new head sculpt over here, which is the Basomas one, which is also important for lockdown. So in case nothing works, we can try to fit this head onto here. It seems a little big, yes, but this head is definitely a very strong connection to this head gun right here, because we have this slot right there, and then this we just slide right in. If we can put the head on like this, then definitely the gun will stay on as well. And because the head would have a little articulation, so the gun will have a little articulation as well, which will be ideal. But the problem is that right now this hole is really big in comparison to this tiny bone head right here. So worst case scenario, we just have to fill some material and fill this up. But ideally this have to be temporary, because if we fill it up permanently, then this head wouldn't be able to fit on anymore. But I still really like this head, because look at this, it's really intricate, especially at such a small scale. So we have to make it temporarily that this can fit on. So my backup plan is that I will use this, which is those things right here, which is a type of bandage that we can just take out and then cut it into a very small slice and then just wrap around this bone head to make it bigger. And then we can finally put on this bigger head with a bigger opening. I think that plan will definitely work, but because if we put that on and whenever we want to change out the head, we have to take it off and then put this head on, and whenever we want to put this back on, we have to go and find some material to wrap this again. Over time, that will not be good for this bone jaw. So that's why if it's not the worst case scenario, I wouldn't want to go that route. Then now let's try taking this head off first, because we need this to have an opening. Let's just try putting this on first and see what we're working with here. This is the head of lockdown, and definitely with the head on it wouldn't fit, because you can see that rock directly touched this head right here, and this doesn't really have any place to hold. It doesn't seem to work at all with this head on. So with the head on is probably out of the picture. Even if we tilt the head, unfortunately there's just like no connection that can make them work this way. We just have to find something that is small enough to go in there and actually attach. Maybe if we rotate the head sideways, would it make the head a little smaller and would it fit? It doesn't seem to work that way either. Let's rotate the head like this and see whether that works. So if we collapse the head all the way, you can see that this just go right in here. The rod doesn't stick to anywhere, there's just no connection for it to stay. And then those tab over here also does not have anything to stay on. And then we have this giant backpack right here, which doesn't really help this to stay on at all. But maybe you can utilize the backpack. You can see that this go out and now it's create a hole. So maybe try to fit this rod into that hole and see whether that's work. This rod fit into this hole. I get this card work. It actually stay. So worst case scenario, we can leave it like this. So the chest region go like that, and then the prongs go in there. You can see that it's going into the hole. And then this section over here from the transparent plastic of the car keyboard actually go into that hole right there and make it stay. It doesn't go anywhere. if this works, then we don't have to make any modification at all. And it turned out the backpack really helps this gun mode because it can stay there. But of course, this have a weakness that is looking into here. You see that there's no head here, and we cannot put the head back on here because you can see that this section is going right snugly in here to hold the gun. So there's not enough space for us to actually put the head in here. So in this mode, the head have to stay inside the chest. But I feel like this connection is not the strongest that we can make this. So let's try to figure something else out as well. Oh, there's one more thing that is in here. Just notice that the chest actually can be pushed out. So if you push it all the way out like this creates a hole. So maybe we can utilize that to make this connection even stronger than before. So we put it in here, fit that in there into the hole again, and then fit this backpack onto the gun. This actually works. This worsened the case because earlier when it fit, those two, they create like a tension in between and make it stay onto the figure. But if we open the chest from here, the distance is just not big enough for it to create that type of friction to hold. Like right now, everything is really loose. It doesn't really want to go into here and hold the gun handle anymore. Let's see if we can try anything else with this backpack. And also we can see that this is actually on just a small plastic connection and it doesn't have any pin going through. So if you want, you can take this off and try a few things with this as well. But because I don't want to do part forming, so we try to do something with this on. Actually, this backpack, if it flip out like this, the problem is that right now this is too heavy and it tends to go forward and just go off the figure. So if we can get something to balance this out, maybe this works. Oh, actually, if we just flip this off, this is a type of cover. Oh wait, that's work. Look at this. That fits very strongly and we don't really have to use any friction or tension at all. So you can see that the first part connected very nicely, and then we just utilize this backpack and it's actually a perfect fit. You can see that it's just like a hole inside and it's fit perfectly with that gun. The gun head like that actually look quite natural because you can see that it's replaced the head entirely and it gives us an illusion that this actually got transformed from the head itself because it's on the same level as the head used to be. Everything is really strong. I think we got this. So the backpack actually saved the day. So it's thanks to this giant backpack right here that this gun mode is possible for this figure. It's a fan-made mode, but it works. And the gun from afar, definitely it doesn't look too bad at all. Of course it's a little big, but that just makes him more intimidating. So that is this, guys. So this is our gun mode right here. So we have two gun modes. The easiest one will be this one, utilizing the big backpack, thanks to the big backpack that finally saved the day for us. And then the second one is try to use friction. It doesn't look that bad at all in comparison to before. And from the front, definitely looks pretty good. Everything looks really natural and blend in nicely. So yes, this will be how I display this lockdown now whenever I want to have the gun head on.